on, guys? Welcome back to Everyday Struggle. Nadeska, Akademiks, and Wayno here. What's good?
Wayno was just telling us before the camera turned on that he was scrapping the new Popeyes over the new chicken sandwich. And I seen the videos yesterday. Everybody was scrapping.
Such a great storyteller.
A master of manipulation.
No, seriously.
I was not scrapping. I actually, you know what I did? I sat outside and I waited for the line to go down. And
there was really a line?
There was a line down the block.
Christ.
Like,
was it that good?
Scrapping, we gonna do all that? Like,
I'm
just
not
go
fucking
wait.
scrapping over no chicken, dog. Like, imagine that headline. But the sandwich is very good.
Seriously?
Yeah, that shit.
What's so special about it?
I don't know. It's just a new sandwich from Popeyes.
Is it white meat, dark meat?
Yeah, it's like you know the chicken breast from Popeyes. It's like the spice. You eat spicy chicken breast from Popeyes, or have you?
No.
Have you? I know you have. You've
Yeah.
definitely eaten spicy chicken breast from Popeyes, right?
No, yeah, actually, no. I tried the sandwich is fire. Like, the sandwich is fire.
It's
like, to keep it real though, like the promotion at this point is just the hype for it.
Yeah, it's hype.
This shit's like Jordans. You know what I mean? Like the goddamn thing is like Jordans. Everybody wants it.
The parallels are so wild sometimes.
No, it is.
Jordans, Popeyes.
Actually, to keep it real, I think niggas want that sandwich.
Is it better than the overrated Chick-fil-A sandwiches?
Nah, Chick-fil-A sandwich is actually good, but the spicy one, yeah, it's better than the spicy Chick-fil-A sandwich. I will say that.
All right.
That shit is actually good, but you know what? I can't eat that shit no more because I was supposed to be eating stuff like that anyway.
That's why I'm confused. We had long talks about this, Wayno. We're
I
trying
know,
to
but
do better here.
I had to see what the hype was about.
to see what Wayno couldn't miss this.
I'm waiting for the viral clip of Wayno like snuffing one of the managers because they said they ran out.
I would hope to never
crazy.
see that here on Everyday Struggle.
Yo, who be waiting on long lines for that? Just use Uber Eats. That's the only thing I can't get about it.
That's
Just
what I did.
use
Like, I Uber Eats one. Like I had got it for my son when I got home. I got him one. I ate 2 of them yesterday.
Seriously?
I ate 2 of them shits.
This nigga can't feel guilty.
You know, I thought you
I
were too
do,
busy for
yo.
this. I thought you were too busy for this kind of shit.
I do, but I just Uber Eats for it. Like it was cool. I have to wait on no lie.
Damn, Popeyes, drop a sponsorship for the show. Oh, this sucks.
All right, guys, it's Thursday, Friday here at Everyday Struggle. About to go into a nice long weekend, so let's get into this. We've been talking about Jay-Z and this NFL controversy all week, so we have some updates. It was rumored or reported by TMZ that he might have a minority ownership in a team at some point. CBS Sports is saying multiple people connected to the NFL have said those are all false. They're saying in order for that to happen, he would have to be vetted, approved, and he would have to divest himself of Roc Nation, which doesn't seem like is going to happen anytime soon. So another big rumor this week was that he allegedly called Jermaine Dupri and told him that he should not take a deal with the NFL, and then turned around and took the same deal. So JD did an interview with V103 in Atlanta. Here's what he had to say about that.
The reason I came up here today is to just make sure that I let everybody know he never told me don't do what I was doing.
Okay.
Right? And I think that that's the part that I see Flex said, confirmation, everybody, like, you know, when I tell people that he and I spoke,
Right.
they run with that. That's not a secret.
Are you guys surprised? They had a conversation on people like running with this. Actually, you know what? Let's continue. So then Dame Dash did an interview with No Jumper, and they asked his opinion on Jay-Z's partnership. I don't think anyone should be super surprised by his stance here. Here's what he had to say.
I mean, everybody knows Jay ain't shit. Like, that, everyone knows that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
But
it's
does
not
that surprise you at all? Because that seems particularly shady.
Listen, if you ask anyone in the industry, it's a common knowledge that Jay ain't shit. You know what I'm saying?
Define ain't shit for our audience.
He's
here.
about the bag. You
Right.
know, we all know that. It's about he's self-preserving, period. Like, you know, it's just that the people he does it to don't have, like, Beyonce next to him. They don't have that kind of a power. But, you know, this dude here, everyone.
He said, define ain't shit.
Define ain't shit.
Oh, my God.
Is it common knowledge?
Not that I've heard, but, you know, Dame might have heard things we haven't heard. I don't know.
I mean, Dame dealt with a whole situation that nobody else in this world has dealt with Jay. So, I mean, he has a certain perspective, you know what I mean, on it. I want to know what you think, man.
The Jermaine Dupri part, like, it seems like that was, if it's a flat out lie and he's coming out to clarify it, I just don't know how it gets out there like that. We get it from 2 sources. Of course, Flex claims he talked to him on the phone, which I'm guessing they did talk, but he just said I didn't tell him that. Secondly, Brian Michael Cox, who came out and said it separately, like, yo, hey, he told him not to take this. So again, I'm gonna just go with what JD's saying rather than saying that he's now covering, because this is really, but like, for what we've seen this deal evolve to, this has turned out to be like a PR nightmare. You get me? Like you're hearing so many things that end up being false. It looks like if you're only, imagine if they announced Travis Scott as a Super Bowl performer, and they have a whole press conference for that, and they get the worst backlash ever. they could have just did this shit quietly and nobody would have cared. Like, cause I can't see, like, I thought, like, and I'm pretty sure we'll get into it, that this whole thing was, okay, this is such a power move, Jay's gonna be a part of it. That's not even true. Okay, like, rumors are coming, well, not rumors, but sources close to the league are saying that's false. Feels like Jay's gonna be organizing all the little concerts and all the little entertainment for the NFL owners. Great, but I don't see the power play yet.
Yeah.
So I think the biggest thing that we're looking at this now to say is that if that's all it is, it looked like you were kind of paraded to try to buy the cool points back of the culture. And again, I don't see any other reason why that whole press conference, because we still don't even have the details of what that was. You get me? What exactly they're gonna do other than plan events like the Super Bowl, which are entertainment activities.
Yeah, I mean, like, this shit is like totally confusing to me now. Like, I don't even know like what's going on. Like, when I seen that he wasn't coming out or he wasn't gonna be an owner, all I said was like, this just goes back to what I said about we just don't know exactly what it is. Like, even for all the reports, nobody knows what's on paper, if he signed anything, or maybe if he was just trying to get Roger Goodell to have a conversation with press to try to smooth some shit over. But like, nobody actually knows what it is that he's doing. So like, I mean, even for JD, like, with JD saying like, he never said not to take the deal, so maybe that's like, or like me saying a story to you and then it getting to you, but by the time it gets to the fifth person, it just changes. Like with, what's his name, Michael B. Cox, saying that he told him not to take it, and then Funkmaster Flex saying he directly spoke to JD, but then he said, nah, like I confirmed that he said this might not be a good idea, and JD's like, I never said that.
Part of my confusion now, and it seems, I don't think we'll get an answer anytime soon from Jay, but what and where did the change of heart come about? Because I do think the publicizing the rumor that, hey, this is, finally we're gonna get the seat at the table term, right? Okay, he's gonna be able to make some systematic change in an organization who we all believe has blackballed people like Kaepernick for standing up or protesting. We're thinking you're gonna get a seat at the table. Now we're hearing ain't no seat at the table. You're just gonna organize the little circus for them, the fun.
Well, I feel like at least we know that this didn't happen overnight, right? It sounds like they've been talking at least for like 7 months. They said it started at the beginning of the year. I'm assuming that when he turned down the Super Bowl, conversations began to happen and then evolved over the last few months.
But that also confuses me because he was also speaking out against other people, like performing in events like that. He also was rapping about, hey, listen, I don't need them, they need me. And then, of course, I think that's why we all, like, whether TMZ falsely reported it or not, or maybe they had just a bad source, we wanted to believe, like, no, this is, we have to watch how this play develops because he's going to become a part owner, right?
Yeah.
And we got to realize that, like, again, for some people who are even critical, they're looking at Jay to say, did he express buying a team last year, the year before? It's never not for money that they don't that they can't buy a team. It's about access. You really have to go through a long process. If they chose Jay as, hey, you know what, we're gonna bring you into the club, maybe then we should understand this necessary move. I think when that gets out of the water, like he's not gonna be an owner, it's like, okay, so what are we talking about here?
Although I don't even know what to believe. Everything keeps changing, and they're all reports. Like TMZ, we say all the time, they piss us off, but a lot of their things are factual. Now CBS Sports is saying they're completely wrong. Flex said he had the details and he was wrong. It's just, who do we actually believe? Or do we just give it some time, or are we just gonna keep speculating?
I think we just give it time. Like I think we just give it time. And it's crazy, like, just to see like some of the things that, I'm just looking at it like, all right, from us actually not knowing, like Jay never came out and said, all right, this is exactly what I'm doing, we just got reports. A lot of people said how they felt about him, and you see more people coming out and saying how they feel about him. So it's like you getting to see everybody's character, whether they knew or not.
Right.
So it's like, I think we just give it time. And of
course, all the people who clearly do not fuck with Jay, like historically, are like running with this. It's kind of crazy to watch. It's so funny how like your long-term reputation means absolutely nothing. People would try to fucking destroy you immediately.
It don't, but it's like even with Dame saying what he said, like it was one point in time when Beanie Siegel was saying the same shit about him.
Right.
I mean, like, he ain't shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and that's from personal situations and business situations. So, I mean, I can't call it.
I do think with Jay, though, it's about perception of how you view him in many situations. Because, you know, when it gets contextualized in times like this, of course, listen to someone like Dame has had a lot of personal history with him and also a lot of personal hurt.
Right.
So that could really be
coloring his opinion.
Yeah, that's a little bit different. But when you bring in other people, like I was listening to Michael Eric Dyson, he was saying, hey, listen, Jay-Z against the wishes of other black leaders, he signed on to the Nets deal that didn't give the people or the community of Brooklyn the best possible situation because they really bought him on board to kind of shove shit down black Americans' throats. And
what shit exactly?
In a way of they're trying to gentrify the shit to bring in the Nets, right?
Right.
They're the homeowners and the people who live there who eventually they're trying to buy people out. While they're working and negotiating and doing all that, Jay comes on board and that influence makes the black leaders who are trying to like negotiate deals with these people that they could get at least the best shit possible, it undermines that.
Oh, okay.
And with that, I think, people contextualize moves like this and say, Jay, like, I get it. Jay bailed out protesters from Ferguson. Jay has helped out in so many social justice issues where people seem to be done wrong. But don't forget that there are times that it seems that he has chosen to line his pocket that has inadvertently hurt black people as well.
Well, wait a second, because if we say that, then you also got to look at what the Barclays Center did for a lot of young black people, because like a lot of people might not be able to just go get a job there or get start a career there if it's not for him coming in, right? Like I think that we can't have everything, right? Like we can't, if they're gonna build a center anywhere, people are gonna have to move, right? Like that's just gonna happen. People are gonna have to move. Now when these people move, once he built that center, he put a 40-40 in there, right? Of course, it's his club, but that also employs a lot of young black people. If you go into Barclays, I mean, I'm not saying that the Barclays has more black people than any other place, but it's a lot of young black people working there. So but I think that it's like 50-50 in a sense where people still benefit. Like there's a lot of black people that did benefit by getting jobs and careers, being able to go down there. And I think that Jay has influence on that as well. So I do get what you're saying, but like them gentrifying that area to build a stadium, we only saying that because there's a face to it. It's tons of places that's gentrified. I never heard nobody say that shit about about what they doing in the Bronx. It's a lot of shit going on in the Bronx where people are getting misplaced, and it costs just as much to live in certain parts of the Bronx as it costs to live in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. But there's not a face that we could point a finger at.
Well, and you're right about that. I think really the correlation between maybe even that particular move, and you're right, like maybe the long play of the Barclays being there and the jobs it provides and what it does to, boost the community, even though some people had to move, pans out in the end. But I think the parallel between both situations, or the correlation is, like, in both situations, Jay has been used as a figurehead to pacify. Yeah. And pacify, especially in this situation, pacify a community that's really not okay with the entity that he's now in bed with.
Yeah, no, I get that. I get that too.
So I think people look at it as like, again, without us knowing the full details, like, Jay, if you're not becoming part owner, and you don't need the money, why? Like, it doesn't make sense.
That's tough though to act, only because it's like, all right, I always look at it like LeBron James, right? LeBron James, when he signed with Nike, he got the $90 million. Everybody's $90 million, right? It was a 7-year contract. In 7 years, he generated for himself he generated for Nike like $3 billion, which is not even the fucking scratch off of what they gave him, right? But he has to get himself in the game. So I think like in business, once you have to find ways to get in, to work within how you can find other ways to build outside of it. Like, it would be cool. Like Shaq wanted everybody to start their own sneaker. Unfortunately, Nike has built a brand where young black kids ain't just gonna buy any type of sneaker. They gonna buy the Nike sneaker because the other shit just ain't cool, and that's just how shit goes sometimes. So I think like going forward, you have to just get yourself in and search yourself in certain places and then work outward.
I do think we have another clip, but it's a good point that the press conference was definitely a nightmare. Like, if they hadn't done that, it wouldn't have been so bad. I mean, seeing him sitting next to Roger Goodell and smiling and laughing, I think definitely is going to leave a bad taste in everyone's mouth. And of course, Kaepernick was at the center of this. People felt like he should have had a conversation with Kaepernick, which he said that he did, and then Kaepernick's team is saying that that never happened. But look, people are very passionate about this on both sides of the fence. So Marcellus Wiley, who's a former NFL player and a commentator on FS1, on a recent episode of Speak for Yourself, he said that his pass, quote unquote, for Colin Kaepernick has expired. Take a look.
Your kneeling at kickoff has nothing to do with our situation unless you translate that, materialize it, and monetize it. Jay-Z waited long enough and finally said, I gotta step past this dude to get this right. This is an identity issue. You know why the identity of this movement has been lost? You know why the identity has been lost in this platform of kneeling, and what does it really mean? Because the identity of those who are leading it has always been in question. Let's keep it 1,000 up here. Kaepernick comes from a situation where he's never felt the full weight of these injustices. This is a mixed race guy who was raised by a white family from Wisconsin to Central California. Respect. That does not disqualify you from talking for us. But when you make missteps and miscalculations, it comes back into play. And he never spoke on this when Black Lives Matters movement was at its height. I knew Kaepernick back then. He was never talking about this. He meets Nessa 2015, all of a sudden 2016 he gets benched. Flip-flop. Not mad, that still doesn't disqualify you. But Nessa comes into play now. And we all know Nessa. Respect to her and her ethnicity, but it's not black. Okay? So now we got two leaders who don't even feel the weight of the consequences. So guess what you are allowed to do right now? Preach. Have convenience.
What'd you guys think? Extreme? Or does he have a point? Agree, disagree?
I think it's an interesting take. You know what I mean? I think it's a very interesting take. I never looked at it from that perspective. Because, I mean, like, when you look at Colin Kaepernick, I see a black man, you know? And like he said, he wasn't saying, like, his mixed race disqualifies him. He's just saying, like, when it all comes down to it in certain types of plays, it just, like you said, rubs people a certain way. Like, when you look at the full gist of it. And even with Nessa, like, I didn't know, you know, I mean, I knew Nessa wasn't black, but I didn't know her ethnicity. You know, I think that he has some points there. But I think that would be a discussion. I would love to see a discussion between him and Kaepernick regarding that. Because, like Ak says, I've never heard him talk. You know, and I mean, sometimes silence can be golden, but, like, I think he should start speaking up for himself. Everybody speaks for him. But
that would be very interesting if he decided to start doing interviews or anything right now, but it doesn't seem like it's going to happen. His lawyer is still speaking for him as well.
Two things to that. So I believe him half-half. By the way, to add in context, from what I hear, Marcellus Wiley does work in some capacity with Jay-Z. So this could be covering your bosses or covering your friends. However, he's right in certain ways, I believe. When it comes to Kaepernick, I do believe his side or his perspective of how the kneeling came about is correct. I do believe, I don't think Kaepernick woke up like, yo, man, I'm tired of this police brutality, I'm just kneeling now. I do believe there's a lot of pouting, and that's what exactly he said. Pouting from your current situation, you're in a $126 million contract, it's not set to renew, your team is treating you not like the superstar that you believed you were, but they're treating you like someone who has fell off, and you started pouting. Of course, there's other things going on in the world. When it all aligns, when you're kneeling, yes, you ride with the movement. I also do agree with them on, perhaps he said one of the reasons why Kaepernick doesn't speak up, Kaepernick isn't educated like most of the people who are vocal. I do believe that too. I don't think this nigga quiet for no reason. It's a reason why, if he was quiet and his girlfriend was quiet, okay, that's just their way. But even then, like, being a silent activist and then trying to have a movement that needs to be led, it's a little bit confusing. He never speaks. So I'm inclined to believe that he may not be fully educated on all these things. So I'm down with two of those. The ones that I look at him a little shakily for, and I thought this was a very powerful, like, rant by him, pointing out that he's half black, I think you undermine the whole movement. Like, if you look at the Black Lives Matter movement, like, a lot of influential figures, some of them are mixed. Are we gonna just negate or just, like, erase what they have done or stuff that they're standing for? You're fighting for the same thing. So those things I look at, but also with where he says, hey, you can't expect no one to work with the NFL because you don't work with the NFL or you don't have a job. And I agree with him on that. So agreeing with him on that though doesn't mean that I believe that someone should directly oppose it.
Yeah.
You get me? Because we ain't mad at Big Boy. Big Boy went and performed. He's not mad at other NFL players who still are out there. They're not kneeling and they're still collecting a check. And actually one of the people who Kaepernick supports, Eric Reed, he's kneeling and he's collecting a check. You get me? And you know, which may undermine the point I just made, but to give a little context too, Kaepernick, I believe after he took the settlement, it was rumored that there is a, I don't want to say it's an NDA, but almost like a non-disclosure agreement. So he can't necessarily speak too much against the NFL because you collected the money.
Right.
You get me? So you collected the money.
Makes sense.
I think just overall though, where I do disagree with Marcellus Wiley is that it does, not because Kaepernick isn't the gatekeeper or shouldn't be the gatekeeper for anyone to work with the NFL, means that we should be now standing with the NFL. And again, the move that Jay did seems like he's standing with the NFL. Not that he just did a deal with them. When you're doing a press conference and you're over here explaining everything that Roger Goodell is looking nervous as a motherfucker over, and you're basically saying, hold on, black people, we good. We off that kneeling shit now. By the way, let's keep in mind, they lost like $1 billion because companies that were advertising with NFL were mad that the players were kneeling. So again, even though we're in the grand scheme of things, kneeling shouldn't be the end all be all. It was affecting the league. It was affecting the league that the league would need to be in the position to go get with a Jay-Z to try to get people back into the fold. Yeah. So while he made great points about Kaepernick and how Kaepernick dropped the ball, Kaepernick did drop the ball. I don't think it really gives Jay the pass to be sitting there with Roger Goodell pacifying all them.
I don't think that like what Marcellus said about him like not feeling the full like effect of like the consequences. Like I understand what he's saying to an extent because Colin Kaepernick probably didn't grow up like everybody else coming from the hood, but that doesn't mean that he's not seeing what's going on and not sentimizing with it and not trying to use it. It's bad for him to use his platform to try to bring light to it. So I do think that like a discussion would need to happen, but it probably won't.
Well, that's the thing. So look, people are outraged about things all the time, but eventually it blows over. There's always a different news cycle. Sometimes it takes a few days, weeks, months. But do you guys feel like Jay needs to publicly address this issue at some point before he pops up at the next NFL event? But at this point, so obviously a press conference doesn't seem like it's the move.
Yeah,
you know
I don't think it's gonna get addressed.
Do you think it's a let it blow over kind of issue?
No, I don't think this is never gonna blow over. Like, of course, with social media, they quick to fucking remind you of the last thing you did that they ain't like. So I don't think it blows over, but I think like we're talking about Jay-Z here, right? Like, eventually we're gonna hear a song. Like, people are gonna hear a song where he like has a nice, cool 4 bars. Or he's gonna do a show and address it, and then it'll change the perception or change what people were thinking. I think that there's more context to it, and because while we have seen Jay recently grow out of fucking fro and do a lot of like political activist things like quietly, we never really viewed him as that. You know what I mean? Like, we never really viewed him as that guy to do that, you know? So because he has a new perspective in life, I think just give it some time and maybe we'll understand it a little bit later.
Okay.
I think you just gotta flush out what this is. You know, like if again, I think it'll get worse if all it is just an entertainment deal.
Right.
You get me?
Right.
If really this is something that he's gonna make significant change with,
yeah, let's see what
people
this
might change.
social justice aspect of it is, because that's what we haven't heard anything else about, right? Whew. All right. A light Thursday, Friday here at Everyday Struggle. All right, so Young Thug has been speaking recently. It felt like for a minute he was only doing interviews in Europe. So his new album is out, of course, So Much Fun. He did an interview with Big Boy's Neighborhood. They asked him a couple interesting things, beginning with the status of his relationship with Lil Wayne.
Yeah. Like, where is that so-called relationship? I don't know. I don't think that nigga like me. He don't like me. I think it's because he's just been with Birdman his whole life, and he's just so spoiled to the point where it's like he's really spoiled. He's been a millionaire. He's been a superstar since he was 9 years old. So he don't know nothing but his way. The first thing that don't go his way, it probably don't have nothing in the world to do with me. I'm pretty sure he done sat back and looked at all interviews and any interviews I ever did, and he probably got to get the picture now. Like, okay, I maybe did too much. Maybe he feel like I done did too much against this young nigga to the point where I can't even embrace him. But that's even crazier.
Just gonna give up on my dream on these two ever having one amazing song together. What?
What academics?
That guy's a nice way of spinning things, because you know his stance is that he just doesn't like me, and you know there was a time when Wayne, when he was in this contract battle with Cash Money, he was only doing club appearances. He was going to club appearances. He was dissing Thug really kind of openly. You know, really wasn't saying his name. It was like, yo, any nigga who was posing naked on an album cover, which that was a bar to 6. But his summation of Wayne probably won't accept me now just because he probably did so much then. It would look crazy for him to come back. Nah, come on. Thug didn't. He's still not taking accountability for agitating Wayne.
Right.
Still not taking accountability for whether it was, you know, his personal relationship with Birdman, and yes, Wayne was going at Birdman, for riding for Birdman as an artist and kind of, you know, trying to poke the bear. When someone can't put out, I would feel the same way. I wouldn't like a nigga if I have a whole series which I hold near and dear to my heart. I can't put out music. I'm going through a lot of shit with a nigga who I consider the father. Now he's working with you. He's almost trying to set you up. Really, you and Thug, you and Rich Homie Quan at that point, to kind of like almost replace what I did for this whole for this whole label for so many years. And I pretty much hear you try to name an album. That's the next one after mine.
Right.
And you pretty much just trying to take everything that I've gotten. So yeah, I wouldn't like you then, of course. Who knows, and God knows what happened with that incident, but where police is investigating about a bus shooting, this and third, yeah, we're not going to be friends.
It's not
going to happen.
Yeah, it's disappointing to hear that he hasn't changed his stance on this.
I mean, the Thug is smart though. He's not gonna say nothing that's gonna put him make himself look crazy.
Yeah, he is smart, but that's why I don't understand why he would even say this.
But honestly though, I think it would go leaps and bounds if he just says, yo, listen, you know what? I was a young artist.
Yeah.
And while he could believe all that still, but be like, yo, I apologize. I shouldn't have went back and forth with someone.
But you know what? Even with that being said, like for everything we do know, I'm pretty sure it's tons of shit we don't know that happened. So it's like maybe he can't even take a type of stance like that, you know, publicly to say something like, yeah, you know, I was bugging, I shouldn't have did. It's probably all types of shit.
It's just so crazy to grow up idolizing an artist and it to all end like this. And at no point it seems like you'll make the effort to repair that relationship. Not even repair it, but like you said, just the blanket apology and move on. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's sad.
Egos, you know, that should have never happened.
Unfortunate. All right. So recently we were talking about Thug's director talking about how Thug and Rich Homie Quan are probably never gonna make up. So they also asked him about his relationship with Rich Homie, and he said he quote unquote has no problem, but still seems like they're never gonna repair this one.
What's the relationship with Quan, with Rich Homie?
No, we don't have no problem.
Okay.
Like, I don't think we can be like how we used to be.
Right.
He already just did some bullshit. He already know my heart. So it's like, I'm too pure. So once you just
cross that line.
Yeah, you do that, it's like, no. I forgive. I always forgive. If I kill a person, I pray to God that he forgive me.
And you know how people want more music and people want to put y'all together. You don't see that happening.
No.
Right.
Because it'll be just...
It's more personal as opposed to...
Yeah, it's nothing about music. It's 100% personal. Like, this was my brother.
Yeah.
It's just like, bro. Now it's like, man, you probably can't never get the blessing of having me on the song, and I can never get the blessing of having you on the song again.
What an interesting guy.
Yeah. It's a lot of bullshit going on that we'll never know about. Hey.
That's interesting. I'm pretty sure Quan has his own side of it. I don't think we're getting anything from Thug's side on it. But I do think because his side addressed it first, it now makes us look at Quan whether he was or not, like he's shady or he backstabbed Thug. So I'm interested to see what Rich Homie Quan's gonna say about this. Especially like since right now, you know, he's been putting out some music, like, you know, he just doesn't have the audience like he used to. You know, turning more people against you because they feel like you betrayed like an artist that's eventually became more popular than you. Maybe he'll divulge some more information, but until then, we don't know.
Yeah, don't know.
All right, so Snoop did an interview with The Breakfast Club this week where he was asked if Nipsey was accurate when he said that he was this generation's Pac. And here Snoop explained his stance on this.
You know, a lot of people around you pass away. And, you know, Nipsey always referred to himself as the Tupac of his generation. You knew both of them. So is that an accurate comparison?
I think it's very accurate because the spirit that Nipsey had was the spirit Tupac had as far as like being up close and personal with the people, and just trying to give back. I think Nipsey did what Tupac couldn't do. I think he was the extension. Like if you run in a 440 relay and you pass the baton, I think the spirit of Tupac was Nipsey, like the seed that he planted. I think he said something about,
I may not change the world, but I'll spark the seed. I'll plant the seed that puts a spark in somebody who will.
That quote right there is Nipsey. He's a spark because he don't rap like him, but he moved like him.
Interesting perspective. So we get irritated all the time with people comparing themselves to Pac, and sometimes they're talking strictly about the music, but then we say there was so much more to Pac and the way he like reached out to his community and connected. So what do you guys think about Snoop's perspective on this?
I thought that was real powerful. Just because Snoop, like, he knew Pac, he was there with Pac, you know what I mean, through everything up until his death. So, like, every time, like, people have, like, these opinions about Snoop Dogg and Tupac, but when it comes from Snoop Dogg, like, you got to take it the most serious from him. And I do, like, I agree with Snoop to an extent because Pac's life was just cut very short. Like, Pac only lived to be, 26, right? 20, it was 26?
26, 27.
26. I know it was a 7. It had to be anywhere, 26. And Nipsey would have been 34 this month, you know? So the time that Nipsey got to spend and acquire the knowledge and really invest in his neighborhood, like he says, the stuff that Pac wanted to do, but Pac was in a lot of conflicting times. It was a lot of shit. I think Pac wanted to do a lot of that type of stuff, but he was into a lot of like, not into, but a lot of BS was coming into his life, from the streets to him having court cases where he couldn't really focus on one thing. That's why the thing I love about Tupac is that everybody calls him a contradiction, but that's really being a human being because we feel different ways all the time. You know, so I think that Snoop was right with that.
Yeah, I like how you explained that he's passing the baton. That was a nice way to phrase it.
Yeah.
Hey, if Snoop says it, I'm agreeing with it. You know, he knew both men personally. I think being an extension of a lot of things that, you know, Pac talked about and a lot of his visions of how he wanted to see, you know, like, especially like when it came to the community. He always talked about, you know, like there's a famous interview where he was talking about how for him, it hurt seeing his brothers, like really just people like him, not have while he had a lot, and he wanted to give back. And, you know, I think Nipsey will be remembered as someone who did a lot to, you know, not only just get his, but give back. So, you know, and he was doing it on the ground. So, you know, hey, I'm not mad at that. I agree with that.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So before we go today, we're gonna do our like playlist picks for the month. But first, Bhad Bhabie is like feeling a way about a lot of things right now. So she was on IG Live recently and was talking about artists getting things written for them and people. She felt like people are picking on her, and she named a few people, and things got a little crazy. Let's take a look.
Y'all just don't understand how this industry works, and it's so sad, and it's so upsetting because people put a lot of work into getting things done, and then y'all hear, oh, she didn't write that hook? Oh, well, fuck her. What? Y'all know most of the biggest names, Drake, Nicki, all them type of people get shit written for them too. Wayne, like, all types of people get shit written. Whether they actually use it or not, shit still gets written.
She said some wild names here. The Barbz were not feeling this one.
Barbz is like Candyman. Say Nicki and writing and they shall appear. Do not say Nicki and somebody else writing anything for her and it will be a problem. She was tweaking. I think like she just was going off the hip and she just could think of it.
But those are the names you came up with?
Yeah, like you don't say, please do not say Nicki and somebody doing anything for her. Like, don't do that. Like, you know, I don't think she really meant that shit. She just was saying names, and that's the name that popped in.
I think she meant it.
You think she meant it?
I think she meant all them names. And not necessarily that, like, here's the thing. Nobody want to hear from you.
Right.
Like, you don't think, like, fuck a hook. We don't think you write nothing.
Right.
That's the problem, and that's the point. So don't try to, you know, it's one of those things where, like, yo, you copied someone's entire fucking homework, and then the teacher catches you, like, yo, nigga, you copied the whole shit. I'm failing you. And then you try to do the Kobe, and you were like, wait, but I saw them at lunch working on a problem together. No, nigga, it's not the same. You wrote the other nigga's name. So, I mean, I look at this as, you see, people, you know, perception is really huge in everything. But, like, people look at her, people look at Cardi B, and no matter what, I had a conversation with Cardi B, and she says her writing has improved. Like, you know, she's working so hard to, you know, get better at her craft. She's putting in hours. The perception still is you don't write shit.
Right.
How you gonna beat that? They don't care because of how you got introduced, because of certain things that may have been public. They're gonna say you don't write shit. Now, when you try to bring down other people to that level, it's not gonna look good. Now, is she right within the industry?
But why not? She could have named her peers, some of her peers.
No, she did.
Those people are not her peers. Are you fucking playing?
No. She did eventually name her peers. This is only one clip. Young boy fans, fuck the Barbz. They liked. The young boy fans, which I think is the most.
You more scared of them than the Barbz?
Nah, fuck with them. They cool.
Young boy fans go hard.
They go hard.
They go hard.
She mentioned a song by Young Boy, which that would be a peer, right? No Smoke. She said, he ain't write that hook. So-and-so wrote that hook. And again, do I think she just lied and made up all that shit? No. If anybody has any type of insight within the music industry, a lot of times niggas will get songs submitted to them where there's a hook on it or whatever. You may again, a song with a hook or an idea.
I thought we don't even care about getting your hooks, or in a hook is a hook, right? It's not like that shit don't matter now.
I'm glad you said that,
that's
because
how I feel.
why would that matter her? You're telling me that Nicki Minaj, whether she used or not. Yeah, whether she used or not.
Said some wild
Nicki,
names,
Drake, whoever else she named. They've never gotten a song with a hook with it.
I mean, well, wait a second. There's two ways to get a hook. You could get a hook from somebody written from somebody else that's in the song, or for you to do the hook over. I've never heard of Nicki doing over somebody else's hook.
Okay, so maybe the name Nicki is triggering you, because I think it was all accepted that Say Best I Ever Had by Drake, he didn't write the hook.
Yeah, who cares?
Right? So why when she says everybody's triggered?
I'm not everybody.
So, but she in this rant that we just watched, the clip that we just watched, is she talking just about hooks, or just all?
She's talking about hooks. She's talking about hooks. That's why I started out by saying, people don't think you write nothing.
Okay.
not a verse.
It's the messenger, man. All it is the messenger.
She would never get on here and talk about, oh, Nicki not writing no verses. Nobody would say that.
Yeah, but that's just Nicki in writing. Like that's the headline. Nobody, everything, my fault to cut you off, but everything else don't matter. Once somebody says Nicki and writing, that's when, and I'm not the one saying, oh, she's wrong and this, that. You playing with the Barbz, my nigga, like you tweaking.
Yo, Wayno looks like he has PTSD.
Listen, now the Barbz is crazy. They're crazy.
Yeah.
Again, it's just the wrong person to hear from. But to be honest, I do think people have to understand, and I'm not indicting Nicki of using hooks that people wrote for her. But again, once you're in those circles, you have songwriters or people who are producers who might give you a beat with like a suggested hook that you could sing over, whatever. It's submitted to everyone. I know in the example of Best I Ever Had for Drake, he re-sung it. And I don't look at him any type of way for that. It's different than the Quentin Miller thing. We're like, oh shit, that nigga penned your verse? That's crazy. So I think that's looked at differently. It's just because she's saying it. If she says it, Cardi B says it, we're like, bro, I don't know if we want to hear from you. Because we're not gonna bring down someone who, like, regardless of whatever, like, people view Nicki as one of the best, rappers and writers, especially for female rappers. We're not gonna bring her down to, okay, she's no different than Bhad Bhabie because that's the industry. You get me? So,
hey,
she just said the wrong name.
Stay strong, Bhad Bhabie.
Drake fans right now, they don't give two fucks.
Stay strong.
He dominating the charts. You could say Drake ain't write shit. No, I don't think people care like that no more.
Stay strong, baby.
Not about Drake.
Drake just dropped old songs and went #1. Never forget. All right, Struggle Tunes time. So each of us gets, I believe it's 4 picks, and Wayno really wanted honorable mentions the first time, so I think that's like now a thing that happens all the time, right?
You get your one,
right?
You know what I mean? It can't make you 4. You get the one that everybody else should check out. You know?
All right, so our Struggle Tunes picks for August. Wayno, what you got?
Okay, so number 1, I got my man Neek Bucks with Westside Freestyle. Neek Bucks been grinding for a long time, and he's from Harlem. He's from the East Side. And I'm not doing this just because he's from Harlem and the East Side. He's really just getting his just due. You know what I mean? Like, he's really been putting in a lot of work, and people start to appreciate him. Then right after that, I got Future featuring Lil Key, Undefeated. I don't know, I just fucking love this song. I got caught into it a little bit late, but I really love that record. Rick Ross featuring Dej Loaf, White Lines. Dej Loaf, me and Ak both talked about it. Like, she's not like a feature. It's kind of like, she sounds like a sample on the record. You know what I mean? Which the joint is very dope. And I got Rhapsody featuring Queen Latifah. How do you pronounce this? Because I keep saying it wrong.
I was waiting for you to say it. Don't try to put me on
Let
the
me try to get it right. Hatshepsut? Okay, Hatshepsut. All right.
No, you cheated. Who said it in his ear just now?
My man Craig held me down.
All right.
But even though the record hasn't fully come out, the other day I was on the way into the city and she was doing an interview and they played it on the radio. And she got Queen Latifah really fucking rapping. You know what I mean? She got Queen Latifah rapping, so I'm messing with that. Can't wait for it to drop. And then my honorable mention is Damani, right? Damani, this is T.I.'s son, which no, this is not sponsored by T.I., none of that. So I heard the song, for real, because you know people like, oh,
now how old is he now?
Cool with I don't know how old he is. I think he's probably a late teens. But I ain't gonna lie, seeing his name, like, you know, you see somebody's name, you get a certain stigma, like, man, that shit ain't gonna be good. Yo, this shit is actually really good. Like, he's talking about how he didn't grow up in a it's called I'm Not Ready, I'm sorry. And he's talking about how he didn't grow up in a household with both his parents, and how he's just not ready to be committed to one girl because how he just seen shit in his life. And I was like, yo, this kid is actually pretty good. You know, so check out that by
I would expect nothing less from T.I.'s kids, I'm not gonna lie.
Yo, that shit is really good. Like, I ain't gonna front. The songs and the video is dope. I saw the video.
Okay.
You know, so it's really dope.
All right.
I mean, he does make kind of decent music. I'm a little surprised by it because any nigga who ends up on reality TV, like, I got a stigma about you.
right.
And really it's just because, like, it usually gives a fabricated perception of someone. And when you start rapping, that fabricated, like, TV-friendly personality, I don't want to hear music from that person. Right. But if you can break the mold, great. You know, I know Diggy Simmons had, like, he probably went through some identity issues with that, too. For my list, though, I got Young Thug Hot. I feel like Young Thug dropped a pretty solid project for a mainstream album, debut album, as he's calling it. And the Hot is one of the joints that just stood out to me. Even though, you know, like, I think it's catchy, but it's still Thug. Right. You know, it's not like catchy generic. It's catchy, but still Thug. I also have YB and Cordae, Broke as Fuck. I don't know. That's just one of them joints that. Why are you clapping?
Because I'm happy that you fucking with Cordae.
No,
man.
I like Cordae's album. I told y'all that. I like Broke as Fuck. I like Thanksgiving. Broke as Fuck and Thanksgiving, my two joints on there.
Yeah.
But this joint right here, I like hearing him rap about, because again, my whole thing was, number one, he was being hyped up a lot. But number two, I didn't know too much about him beyond that. And when I spoke to him, and also like even Ace, I was like, yo, that's his manager. I was like, this album, I hope y'all tell his story, whatever that is. Right. And on songs like this, you kind of get his story. I really fuck with that song. Lil Tecca, again, Tecca been going crazy.
Act like the biggest Tecca fan I know.
I'm not. Actually, I like one of his other songs before that's getting re-released now, but Ransom, to be honest, I don't even like Juice WRLD's verse. I really think Juice WRLD's trash on the song. But I just like Ransom still. Like, I could mute Juice WRLD on the song. And it was number 8 last week. I'm trying to see if it's going to go to number 5. And then my last one is Key Glock Pride. Yo, that Dumb and Dumber album, that shit hit different in the whip. It hit different in the whip,
Mazda?
Man. In the Mazda actually on the AirPods. It hit different. I just gotta let y'all know. It hit different. Right. So, you know, I rock out with that joint as well.
You got an honorable mention.
Oh, I do. Oh, Trap Manny Taliban, you know, when A Boogie and Don Q came up. Oh, yeah, what was it?
It was when Don Q came up, Trap Manny was with him.
Trap Manny was here, he played me some music. I really fuck with a bunch of them songs.
Nah, Trap Manny go hard.
And I've been telling my man, yo, listen, you gotta, like, y'all gotta, like, push this shit. And honestly, I think he's about to get his just due now, but, like, he's had a lot of records. He has this flow that's really distinct and unique. I think this record and, like, 2 other records I like of his, they should go. I'm hoping they work this record because I like it.
Okay. Nadeska.
All right, so for the first and possibly only time ever, Akademiks and I have one of the same picks.
You stole my idea?
Stole your idea. This is the best song on the album so far. In my opinion, Young Thug, Hot. Had to put this one on there. You guys know I'm a big Thugger fan.
Okay.
I also have a pick from Rhapsody. It's called Nina. So I got to hear a few of the songs a few weeks ago, and I can't remember which was like every song, but I think I remember like really liking this. She has some dope samples on this, and like she said when she was on the show, they're all in honor of, like, you know, strong, powerful woman. Really cool. So that comes out tomorrow. I'm super excited to hear the whole thing. Also have Young M.A. Big, like we said on the show. She's having so much fun on this record. I just want her to be great. I want her to drop an incredible project. I want her to go on a run. I think she's super talented, and I think we need her. We like really need her. So I hope she like stays consistent and keeps dropping music. And then I also have Sir featuring Kendrick Lamar, Hair Down. So he dropped an incredible album last year called November. He's getting ready to release a new project. This is the first single. Super talented guy. Is a great like songwriter. I think he plays instruments. He sings. It's a vibe. So I'm looking forward to this project a lot. And then my honorable mention is from Boss. So during the Revenge of the Dreamers 3 sessions, it sounded cool. He said like it was cool. Everyone could be their own like little producer, like set their own vibes. He said there's a ton of music. I met Earth Gang yesterday. They said they also have a ton of music that didn't get released. So some of those songs ended up on a project he just dropped called Spilled Milk Volume 1. So I picked Amnesia featuring Ari Lennox and a Nigerian artist named Kid Dominant. This has a nice little bounce to it. Go check that out.
Shouts out to Boss, man. Boss is I don't like to use the word underrated, but I feel like he's underrated.
Yo, he's got a sick global fan base.
Yeah.
He's selling out shows across the world.
He's dope, yo.
Super lit.
He's really
super
dope.
lit. Also, Earth Gang is amazing.
Yeah,
I was telling them, I was starting to think they were just like a myth, a legend. You finally learned who they are recently, right? Remember? Johnny Venus, remember that name? No?
Oh, he's in there?
Yeah. Down bad.
Yeah, they're cool.
Best verse.
Yeah, they're super dope.
No wonder. Oh, they're part of Earth Gang. No wonder.
There. Yeah.
Or he.
It's Dr. Dot and Johnny Venus.
How many niggas is in there?
Two of them.
Yeah, they dope though. They really dope.
Okay. Fuck with them.
All right, that's our show for today. Any final thoughts, gentlemen, before we go? Oh,
Stay
guys,
dangerous.
The Amazon forest is on fire. Climate change shit is getting like really scary.
Yeah.
We're not gonna make it.
Where?
The Amazon.
The Amazon, yo.
I think we get like 20% of the world's oxygen from that rainforest. No, it's serious. It's like been on fire for like 3 weeks.
I just feel bad because I love animals. You know what I mean? Like I watch a lot of stuff on animals. I'm a big animal lover, and I watch a lot of stuff about the Amazon rainforest, and that's really fucked up. You know what I mean?
Hey, I just want to send some condolences to the family of Tee Grizzley. He was reportedly involved in a really serious situation in Detroit where he may have lost like his manager, but also his aunt. So I just want to send a lot of prayers and love to him and his family. I could tell it's definitely a tough time over there. He hasn't said anything, but from what we're hearing, he should be okay. Very unfortunate incident.
Yes, rest in peace to Jobina. I got a chance to work with her recently on a few things. So yeah, she was a very great woman. I say that.
All right, sending love. Guys, hope you have a great weekend. We'll see you here Monday on Everyday Struggle.
Wayne don't know that none of his sneakers can be worn in the rainforest. What is he talking about? This nigga's like watching the National Geographic Channel.